Hello there. A very good morning and welcome to Friday's edition of Newsline with me, Shane Silva. This morning we have senior journalist Bandula Jayasekara sitting in for Farah Shaukat Ali. Good morning, Bandula.
Good morning, Shane.
How are you this morning?
Good.
All right. Bandula, we'll start off with a quick skim of the headlines in the papers today. Ceylon Today talks about 3 deputy ministers resigning, as well as JVP goes to the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka over MR's privileges. In the meantime, in the Daily News, we have the COPE report on the central bank bond issued stayed, and DEW Gunasekara misused his powers is what the sub-topic of that headline says. In the meantime, the Daily Mirror says that the elections commissioner says he cannot reduce MR's security. Also, the enjoining order on the COPE report is what the Daily Mirror is carrying this morning. In the meantime, the Island newspaper goes with a different headline this morning. New joint mechanism to regulate independent media taking shape. Now, this is in context with the chairman of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka, Justice Priyantha R. Pereira, yesterday strongly advising both print and electronic media against favouring a particular party or candidate at the forthcoming August 17th parliamentary elections. Now, stemming from that story, we have the polls chief has asked state and private media to stop telecasting, or to refrain rather from telecasting President Maithripala Sirisena's address to the nation last Tuesday, on the basis that it was inimical to political parties as well as candidates in the fray for the August 17th polls. Bandula, what are your thoughts on this particular story?
No, I think it's good that the polls chief should be very tough, and he should follow. Not only to the media, but the biggest violators, Shane, are not the media, but the politicians themselves. They are the ones who violate. Now see, for example, after the nomination, you said you cannot go on parades, but they went on parades. So they are the ones who break the laws, the cutout, the posters. So he should be hard on them where media could expose them. That's really what they should do.
Also, Bandula, there was a story that made the headlines yesterday in the morning, in the papers yesterday, which was the Daily News talking about 100,000 rupee fine being imposed on politicians who use or rather misuse state vehicles during campaigning for the upcoming poll. There is a story also in the Ceylon Today with regards to that. Bandula, what are your thoughts on this? How effective would this be, this mechanism?
Shane, it's very interesting. Okay, it's there, a politician says, and then the newspapers report. But what is needed, is required, is who is going to monitor them? They are saying, okay, where are they going to pay this money, and who is going to monitor? That is what is important. So what we should have is independent body of people of the civil society should monitor. Have they paid this 100,000? What's happening? Then what about not only the vehicles, what about the fuel, what about the security and other people? So this is your money and my money, Shane, which these politicians are using. That is really what we have to monitor and investigate.
And do you think that this is something that should come under the Elections Commissioner himself, maybe a mandate that should be granted to him, or do you think the parties themselves should take?
No, come on. You think the parties would do that? I doubt it, because maybe the election commissioner should take control and monitor, and then say, say for example, declaring of assets. Have the politicians declared assets? No, have we seen it? Can't we publish these? How much money they use? In other countries, like in the US, there is a limit how much the campaign funds you can get. Nothing is happening. They say, so this is what, I think we say, we report, you decide.
Right, Bandula. Now, skimming through the main paper of the Island today, we've come across a very interesting article by a personality who is respected both in the local aviation industry as well as the international aviation industry. He's none other than Captain Elmo Jayawardena, and he has actually provided an article which is titled, "Oh, what a circus, oh, what a shame." And of course, this is in special reference to the Mattala airport. Bandula, what are your thoughts on this? A personality of the character of Captain Elmo Jayawardena coming out with an article like this. What does it?
Shane, I think at the end you should read the last para, but I went through this. It is not only about the Mattala airport, or he says as an aviation expert, he says about Mattala airport. I personally think we would have developed, instead of Mattala, we would have developed Ratmalahana. But what Captain Jayawardena says is about, the political circus. What these people up to, finally, we are being hoodwinked. People are being fooled. The joke is on us, not on them. So that is really what what Captain Jayawardene is saying, the last para sums it up all, that finally he says MR won, MS won, Ranil won, but we have lost. That is really what Captain Jayawardene is saying.
Just to quote that section of the paper, Bandula, that you are referring to, where Captain Elmo Jayawardene says many were the promises of the sworn of and the people believed. More were the hopes of the common man, where his faith in the new face multiplied on the outset of a new era of the 8th of January. What happened? Let's make it simple without any fancy rhetoric. Nothing happened. And the I believe MR won, or rather MS won, and RW won, and they all won. Sadly, it is the country that lost. This is an extract from the article.
Yeah, which is very interesting. Add to that, Shane, what is also interesting now, yesterday, Dr. Sudarshini Fernandepule, who is a medical doctor, she has said, who is a former deputy minister who resigned, she has said that both parties have fielded corrupt politicians. Now, here is a former parliamentarian, a deputy minister. She herself is saying both parties have fielded corrupt politicians. So why is that? Like, again, the joke is on us. So what do you think of that, Shane?
Exactly, Bandula. Just taking a look, moving back to a story that we touched on in the Ceylon today. 3 deputy ministers resign. That is the headline in the Ceylon today. Now, Bandula, as you are aware, when the Chief Justice was impeached, none of the members of the cabinet resigned. But however, 3 deputy ministers have resigned here, and they protest against Maitri's speech. That is the headline here on the Ceylon today. Bandula, what are your thoughts on this?
As far as I remember, to me, there's only been one honest politician, as far as I remember, where during the Lanka Accord, then the UNP Minister Gamini Jayasuriya resigned. That's on principle. After that, we have never had people like taken in India. If there's a train accident, people resign. Here, they commit murder, they commit everything, and they won't resign. But coming back to Shane on this, what they have done is for themselves. Really, politicians are for themselves. They are supposed to be people's representatives. Are they people's representatives? No. So that shows they would resign their own self-serving interest, Shane.
Interesting thoughts expressed there, Bandula. Talking about self-interest and the like, as you are aware, on the international arena, there has been some development or a breakthrough in the negotiations between Iran, the US, and the UN. There have been some discussions, and further to that, it is being contemplated to remove the sanctions on Iran at the moment, rather. And further to that, the tea industry, the Mirror Business section says, tea industry hails sanction ease on Iran, says tea exports and revenue will improve gradually. The Daily News Business section also talks about this story, and it says Iran sanction lift to boost in tea exports. Bandula, what are your thoughts on this, moving from a macro global topical headline filtering down to Sri Lanka? What do you think this means for
Shane? I've been following this a bit, because especially the AFP bureau chief Amal Jayasingh had been following, and he's been doing quite a lot of stories. But he was telling me yesterday, even though we had sent the tea, the industry and the money, but Iran had difficulties in giving us the funds, like the money. So now he feels that this will open up, and the tea trade, there will be a boost. Plus, Shane, add to that, if you look at our refinery, because I think it was through Iranian oil, the crude oil that was designed for that, and we had difficulties. Now with this opening up, that refinery should work, and with those crude oil can come, and it should benefit us.
Actually, we've been trying to contact Amal Jayasingh, the AFP bureau chief for Sri Lanka, but due to a technical difficulty, we are unable to get through. However, one thing that stands out further to this story is EFC willing to recommence wage negotiations. I'm talking about the article appearing in the Ceylon FT, which says that the Employers Federation of Ceylon said yesterday that it was willing to recommence negotiations with estate trade unions following talks ending in a stalemate on Wednesday. Now, as much as we are enthusiastic and excited about the lifting of sanctions on Iran, how would this appear to be in context with that story? I mean, on the one side we are excited, yes, but also on the other side we have a stalemate between the estate trade unions and the Employers Federation. Bandula,
my observation, I mean, like hailing from Kandy, what I have seen is that even though the plantation, the politicians, I think they have neglected our people, because the people who are like the tea pluckers, they do so much. But look at the politicians, what they do. What they do, you really have to look after these people. I mean, they are really serving, and look at the line rooms. I'm sure you have seen them. So we got to improve their standards. Then the contribution. So that is really what we should do. I mean, and help them. But like I would say, I really would like to slam the politicians. The politicians that they have neglected these poor and innocent people. It's there to be at fault. But sometimes the plantation, the industry, we'll say the people who own those estates, they have looked out. It's the politicians who have hoodwinked them. The upcountry politicians for years.
Indeed, Bandula, interesting sentiments expressed there. Further to the story that appeared in a couple of papers with regards to Sri Lanka, the tea industry's reaction to the lifting of sanctions, or the contemplated lifting of sanctions on Iran. Well, with that, we wrap up this edition of Newsline. Hope you have a great weekend.